HelpMeWithStats.com was used to create this tutorial that can help us organize the steps in a two-factor ANOVA. This table presents an organization of the two-factor independent measures ANOVA. The two-factor ANOVA tests three effects, which all need an error term for the F ratio. The first two effects are the main effects of the two variables, referred to as factor A and factor B. The third effect is the interaction between the two factors. Let's start by defining a null hypothesis for each of the three effects. Next, we divide the total sum of squares into four pieces. 1. The factor A sum of squares. 2. The factor B sum of squares. 3. The interaction sum of squares. 4. The within cell sum of squares, which is the error term. Next, we need to calculate the sum of squares for each of the four terms. Sometimes, this time-consuming step will be unnecessary because the sums of squares will be provided to reduce the time to solve the analysis. This step and the previous step are grayed out because these steps won't be performed for most problems. Next, we calculate the degrees of freedom for all four terms. Then we calculate the mean squares for all four terms. These are the terms that adjust the sum of square terms so that the mean squares can be compared in an F ratio. After calculating the F ratio for each of the three effects, we'll also need to determine the critical F values for each comparison. Note that we don't calculate an F ratio for the error term because the error term is used in the other three F ratio calculations. The final step of the two-factor ANOVA is to compare the observed F ratio and the critical F value for each of our three effects. This comparison produces a research conclusion, which is a test of the null hypotheses. Note that we have three hypothesis tests, one for each of the three effects. Optionally, we may want to calculate effect sizes for any effects that are significant, that is, effects which show a rejection of the null hypothesis. For more help with statistics, HelpMeWithStats.com is a free website that has more than 70 tutorials, as videos, or as self-paced slideshows. You can also learn how to conduct more than 60 statistical analyses by watching videos that show complete solutions, or by working through an unlimited number of examples using the step-by-step problem solvers. Finally, you can access a comprehensive stats textbook with more than 685 review questions. Thanks for watching. If you find these resources valuable, please share with your friends, teachers, and professors.